Good evening and welcome. You're watching Bizz Talk on your channel of choice, and my name is Sinazo January. Now, this is a show where I bring you nothing but the best of the business sector in and around the Eastern Cape. And as usual, this episode is absolutely no different. Now, on today's episode, we had a conversation about the South African Reserve Bank monetary policy with a senior economist from Gugha Development Corporation, and he goes by the name of Mr. Semiyu Rafiu. So let's go and have a look. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Sue, and good afternoon for your viewers.
Now, a few weeks ago, the country was talking about the increased repo rate. Why do you think that was such a big concern for our country?
Okay, no, the repo rate is just a policy rate from the South African Reserve Bank that they usually use, for them to manage, the policy and their objectives. So, and our private bank will use the repo rate as a base to increase your loan and everything. Yes, that is why you see all these notes out.
What tools do you use to analyze the economic landscape?
As you can know, we at Gugha, we are a team of senior economists. We are more quantitative and analysts also. And our job is to extract information from data. We use a lot of data from different sources, from global, regional, and national platforms. And for us to come up with a data-driven type of information. So that is where we are.
What are your views about or on the recent increased repo rate in our country?
Okay, look, I will speak, as a new economist,
Yes.
just to give you a perspective in terms of what happened.
Yes.
The South African Reserve Bank, they usually have three types of mandate that they usually pursue for them to make a decision on the repo rate. The first one is to look at the economic condition.
Yes.
The second one is to look at the policy objectives. And the third one is to have the usual targets, what we refer to the real neutral repo rate.
Yeah.
So now let us start from the first one. During that time of decision, the economy was not doing well.
Yes.
It was quite depressed.
Yes.
You see the currency was the rand was not doing well, the rand was, it was not quite good, And for the Reserve Bank, one of the mandates is to try to stabilize that.
Yes.
So they will want to, because for them, when the rand is not doing well, we have that kind of disturbances, for example, in the financial market and all of that. So they look at all this environment and to see how they can stabilize that.
Yes.
Now, the second one is, you will remember that the inflation rate was out of the target range, which was between 3 to 6. It was around 7.1 or something, and now it's 6.8. Now, with that, the mandate of the Reserve Bank is to try to push back the inflation within the target range.
Yeah.
So the only way for them to do that is to increase, the repo rate. That's the second, things that we see giving us. Now, the third one, we refer to that as the neutral real repo rate.
Yeah.
Now, when you look at the real repo rate, they usually use that as by taking what we have, the repo rate. At that time, the repo rate was around 7.75, if you remember.
Yeah.
And it was in the second quarter. Now, they will take the expected inflation that will happen in the third quarter, which was around 5.5 at that time. And when they remove the 5.5 of expected inflation for your 7.75, it gives you something that is around 2.25. And you must know the target of the Reserve Bank for this year it was for the real repo rate. It was around 2.4. So any real repo rate that is below 2.4, it deemed as accommodative. They will refer to the policy as the policy is quite accommodative. That it gives them like a room to increase. Now, when it is above, the 2.4, is sometimes that we see within the committee, there will be a discussion. People will want to say to increase or not to increase. But when it's below, I think the decision they got a room to increase that. Now, from that explanation, the first one, economic condition, it was a tick. The inflation, it was out of the range. The second tick. Now, the real repo rate was 2.25, which was less than 2.4. So it gave them a room down to increase. So from the economic perspective, for us, as an economist, we were expecting that to happen. It was not a surprise, for us to say it. But when you listen to normal people, the household, it's quite difficult to comprehend that because the money is not in our pocket. Remember, the repo rate has been increased for 10 consecutive times. Before that was 9. So the repayment, everything, people were feeling that, pain. And that is why you see, all this noise because there is no money. And people now need to find a way to pay it. So, yeah. But for us, it was quite expected, yes.
And right now it's time to take a quick ad break, but we'll be back right after this. And welcome back from the ad break. If you've just joined us, we had a very interesting conversation about the South African Reserve Bank monetary policy in our current economic environment. And I had that conversation with senior economist, Mr. Semiu Rafiu. So let's go and have a look.
Now, from the KUFA's perspective, what strategy intent formulated to ensure on achieving a financial stability?
Okay, look, there are people in KUFA that are well positioned for that, but I will give you from my unit and from my perspective. Remember, as a KUFA, we usually receive also grant from national government for us to be sustainable. But one of the things that we're doing also is to attract a lot of kind of investors. That will have, make us to have less, to move away from that dependency of the government. But on the same thread, what we do, we usually work with our colleagues from business development by providing them intelligence, market research, all of it for them to be ahead, of the market. It also assists them, to make their own strategy, to know where to go. So these are the kind of things that my unit, for example, assists, the organization in terms of us. Because when you have more investors, you're going to have more income and you're going to assure sustainability. But the second, arm of our business that everybody knows that we are implementing agents. We are the best in the country. We bring a lot of jobs, all of these things, for us. What we do as a research unit is we use this program because we are not in the front line. We are within our program. We try to identify it and we come up with a solution. So we act as a consultant. In my team, I've got a very talented people of quantitative analysts and people that are quantitative economists. So we do a lot of type of business development, outlook kind of forecasting and all of this for provincial government for them to make a decision. So, and that also assists for them to have one of two, things to add to our revenue.
Now, considering the country's first economic quarter performance, why is it difficult to project the future performance with an acceptable degree of confidence?
Yeah. You see, we don't want to be in our position today to project the economy because of, that we are in a very volatile global environment with the tension that you see in the Ukraine-Russian war. okay, with all this thing that is coming, what is happening currently in China, with Taiwan, all this disruption. There is a consequence, on our economy. Okay, we are having that external shock. Now, on top of that, we have a low schedule, although the government is doing whatever possible, for example, to try to, alleviate, that impact on the economy. Now, when you look at that, it's quite extremely difficult. Now, one factor that is coming is the big summit in South Africa. So it's a summit that for us, it's you should see the Reserve Bank governor also referred to that, although people were not quite happy. But it's a kind of a summit that can create a disturbance. Depends on how we manage that one. So I would say for anyone to have a clear view of what will happen this year, let us see after the summit. Then we can come up with a concrete decision.
Before I do let you go, what steps can be taken by individuals to adjust their finances considering the prevailing economic conditions in South Africa?
It's quite simple. I think one of the things is, we don't have money. So you don't have money in your pocket. So now you need to start prioritizing things that you need to do. The first thing is to review your budget. Try to look at what is quite essential. Don't buy what you don't need. Okay? Because that will assist you at least to have some kind of thing that you can save. And you can use that, place that in some, financial institution for you to generate some additional type of revenue that can sustain you, for example, your day-to-day staff at house. The third one can be like you can speak to your bank to try to look at your debt. They can look at the term of condition that can be reviewed, and you can consolidate also your debt in one portfolio. All of this can assist you, for example, to save some cents that can be quite critical for us.
All right, thank you for taking the time for this interview.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
And right now it's time to take another quick ad break, but don't go anywhere because we'll be back right after this. Welcome back from the ad break. Earlier on, we had a very interesting conversation with senior economist Mr. Semiyu Rafiu, where we were speaking about the South African Reserve Bank monetary policy. But right now, we still have more for you, so let's have a look.
Cost of living is very high. A loaf of bread, my love, is 20 rand.
South Africa's annual inflation rate eased further to a 13-month low of 6.3% in May 2023, down from 6.8% in April and below market forecasts of 6.5%.
It's killing our business, especially in a small business. I can't afford a generator, I can't afford solar, whatever.
Prices slowed down mostly for food and non-alcoholic beverages, as most food categories recorded lower annual inflation rates in May, with exception of sugar, sweets and desserts, and cold beverages. Prices also softened for transportation, household contents and services, alcoholic beverages and tobacco, and recreation and culture. The annual core inflation, which includes prices and food, non-alcoholic beverages, fuel and energy, raised to 5.2% in May, down from an over 6-year high of 5.3% in April, the line with market estimates. On a monthly basis, consumer prices increased by 0.2% in May, the latest in 4 months, and below market estimates of a 0.4% rise. Our current repo rate stands at 8.25%, and our current inflation rate stands at 6.3%. Our inflation target stands at 3 to 6%. Our nominal effective exchange rate stands at 75.69. The South African Reserve Bank compiles highly quality economic and financial statistics based on international best practice for use by policymakers, financial market participants, and general public. These statistics inform the South African Reserve Bank's monetary policy decisions and are regularly updated.
Good day. As this year commences, high inflation and weak economic growth continue to shape global conditions. Russia's war in the Ukraine drags on, and recession risks remain elevated in the euro area, even though energy constraints have eased. Growth prospects for the United States this year are lower. The growth outlook for China has improved, but is likely to remain modest by historical standards. In the developing world, a number of economies face debt distress, exacerbated by tighter global financial conditions. Last year, higher than expected headline inflation and rising core inflation led major central banks to accelerate the normalization of policy rates. With advanced economy interest rates likely to increase in the near term, we expect financial asset prices globally to remain volatile. Taking these and other factors into account, the SAP's forecast for global growth in 2023 is revised slightly lower to 1.6%. We expect better growth in 2024 at 2.6%. The International Monetary Fund's October forecast will be updated later this month. While South Africa's GDP was relatively strong, growing 1.6% in the third quarter of 2022, the expansion was not broad-based. We forecast no growth in the fourth quarter. For the whole of last year, GDP growth of 2.5% is expected. For 2023, and as a result of extensive load shedding and other logistical constraints, the bank now forecasts GDP growth of only 0.3%. Given the scale of load shedding, the bank estimates that it deducts as much as 2 percentage points from growth in 2023 compared to the previous estimate of 0.6 percentage points. Over the medium term, the forecast takes into account ongoing high levels of load shedding and more modest household spending and investment growth than previously. Investment is still positive, but is revised down due to weaker confidence and lower growth than we previously expected. With declining commodity prices, exports are also forecast to be less robust. The forecast incorporates an assumption of increased load shedding in each year compared to what was penciled in at the time of the November meeting.
And unfortunately, we have come to the end of our episode for tonight. But please do join me next week, same place, same time, right here on Channel 260 with myself, Sinazo January. But for now, from myself and the rest of the Mpumakapa TV crew, it is good night.